Hi everyone, happy Thursday. Welcome to our poetry lesson and let's get started. Okay, so this morning for our starter, we're going to focus on revising and editing. So that means we're reading over our sentence and we're making any changes that we need to, like spellings, missing punctuation, missing capital letters, and just to see if it makes sense. So here is a line from our poem, The Owl and the Pussycat, that we've been reading. So let's have a look at it. They sailed away for a year and a day to the place where the bong tree grows. So, first things first, we know that that's a sentence from our poem. So, we know that it does make sense. Who's the they they're talking about in this sentence? Who's the they? That's right, it's the owl and the pussycat. And they sailed away for a year and a day, means how long they were traveling. So, they traveled for a full year and a day and they went to the place where the bong tree grows. And we saw those bong trees in the illustration. So we know it makes sense. Now let's check the easy stuff first. Do we have a capital letter at the start of our sentence? No, we're missing a capital letter on they. So we're going to fix it. Next up, what do you think we need to look for? We have capital letters. We can see that we have finger spaces. We also need full stops. So let's look at the end of the sentence, not the end of the line, the end of the sentence. And I can see we don't have a full stop, so I'm going to add one right at the bottom. Anything else you think we need to check? Look closely. I've noticed some of those words are a different color. What does that mean? Pause the video, have a think. What does that mean if we see green words? That's right, it means that something is spelt wrong, so we need to use our year one spelling. So let's have a look and check over here. They sailed away for, year one spellings. For, so I need f, or like fork. So they traveled away for a year. Year. I need to use a year one spelling. So we go ear, ear, like beard. That's a trigraph that we know. So ear. So they sailed away for a year and a day. Now I know that A is a digraph. It's a year one digraph. But what do we know? Is that the only year one A sound that we know? It's not, is it? We've been learning in phase 5 that an A sound can be A-Y. And we know A-Y often comes at the end of a word. So for day, we're going to need to use that phase 5 A sound and put it at the end of a word. So some tricky spellings that could have tricked us, but not if we use our year one sounds. They sailed away for a year and a day to the place where the bong tree grows. As every good reader, after you do your revising, you read it over again just to make sure that it makes sense. So that looks fantastic. You've done a great job. Now let's have a look at what we're learning today. So today we're learning to identify some rhyming patterns in a poem. So rhyme, what is rhyme? What is rhyme? Pause the video and have a chat. What does it mean if something rhymes? We know Julia Donaldson books rhyme a lot. Rhyme. Welcome back. I'm glad you shared your ideas on what rhyming is. I'm going to give you an example. So grow and slow are rhyming words. Grow and slow. Mog and hog are rhyming words. What makes those rhyme? What's the same about grow and slow? Is it that they start with the same letter? They begin with the same sound? Well, that can't be it, because grow has g and slow has s. So that can't be it. It can't be that they start with the same sound. Same with mog and hog. I've got a and a h. So it's not that they start with the same sound. Could it be that they end with the same sound? G, o, g, o, s, o. Oh boy, they end with the same sound. Let's test it out for mog and hog. O, g, g, o, g, o, g. Now I'll have a look at hog. H, o, g, hog. So they have the same ending sound. They even have the same middle sound, those. So I know that a rhyming word or a rhyming pattern is going to have the same ending sounds. They're going to sound the same at the end. Okay, now today we have a new poem. It's also by Edward Lear, who wrote Our Owl and the Pussycat. And this one's called Calico Pie. So have a little listen as I read it. And I want you to have a think about what makes this poem sound nice. What are the parts in it that sound really good, or they sound good to hear? So I want you to think about that while I'm reading it. So Calico Pie by Edward Lear. Calico Pie, the little birds fly down to the calico tree. Their wings were blue and they sang tilly-loo till away they flew. And they never came back to me. They never came back, they never came back, they never came back to me. Calico Jam, the little fish swam over the syllabub sea. He took off his hat to the sole and the sprat and the willoughby wat, but he never came back to me. He never came back, he never came back, he never came back to me. Calico Ban, the little mice ran to be ready in time for tea. Flippity flop, they drank it all up and danced in the cup, but they never came back to me. They never came back, they never came back, they never came back to me. Calico Drum, the grasshoppers come, the butterfly, beetle, and bee. Over the ground, around and around, with a hop and a bound, but they never came back, they never came back, they never came back. The end. We don't have that back to me in the end, do we? It kind of stops differently. Right, so what did we like about that poem? And what made it sound nice? Or what was that? And that goes back to what we were talking about yesterday about what makes a good poetry performance. So what in the sounds of that poem did we really like with the way it was read? So pause the screen, have a little chat. You can chat with me on the screen, you can chat with a reading buddy, you can chat with an adult. What is it that you liked about the poem, and what made it sound nice? What were the best parts to hear out loud? Welcome back. Okay, so if I was thinking about that poem, I would say I really liked that it was quite a silly poem. There were lots of words in that seemed like they were made up. I think singing Tilly-loo and the calico tree, or the willoughby wat, or the syllabub sea, they sound quite funny, but I know that they're not real words. So there's lots of nonsense in this poem, which makes it really silly and funny to read. I also really liked how there was lots of repetition. So we talked about repeating kind of the same line or the same word in a poem. So what do we repeat in that first bit? I'll read the first part, the first stanza for you, and you can tell me which lines you hear repeated. So Calico Pie, the little birds fly down to the calico tree. Their wings were blue and they sang tilly-loo till away they flew. And they never came back to me. They never came back, they never came back, they never came back to me. That's right. Do you see that we're repeating that they never came back? Fantastic. We can see it repeated a lot. We also heard some rhyming phrases and words in that poem as well. So let's see if we can spot the same sounds. So calico pie, the little birds fly. So we have pie and fly. Down to the calico tree. Their wings were blue, they sang tilly-loo, till away they flew. Wow, 3 words that rhyme. Blue, loo, and flew. And they never came back to me. They never came back, they never came back, they never came back to me. Right, let's have a look at the next part of the poem. And I'm going to get you to pause it so you can see it. There we go. Pause the screen, and I want you to look for those rhyming pairs in the next section. So I'll put a big circle around it. I'm going to read that bit, and we're looking for the rhyming parts. So have a little go. Excellent, welcome back. Now let's have a look at it together. So Calico Jam, the little fish swam. So we have jam and swam. Did you catch that one? I knew you would. Over the syllabub sea. He took off his hat to the sole and the sprat and the willoughby wat. So now we have 3 rhyming words, just like before: hat, sprat, and wat. Well done. You got it. I can't trick you. You know your rhyming sounds. All right. So let's have a little think about the poem. And question number 1 is, what animals were running away in the poem? So what animals? Can you make a list of the animals? Remember we said some of the animals might be real animals. Some of them might be made up names of animals that we haven't heard before. So let's go back to the poem. And I'd like you to pause it and have a little look. Can you find out who those animals are who are running away in the poem? Calico Pie, the little birds fly down to the calico tree. Their wings were blue and they sang tilly-loo till away they flew. So who was the animal in that first part of the poem? That's right, it was the birds. So we can put the birds on our list. Calico Jam, the little fish swam over the syllabub sea. He took off his hat to the sole and the sprat and the willoughby wet, but he never came back to me. He never came back, he never came back, he never came back to me. So first we have birds flying away. Now who do we have leaving? That's right, it was fish. So birds and fish. And I'm going to let you have a little go at the next page. Remember, just like when we do our reading, the pictures can be helpful clues. We always want to look in the text, but the pictures can be helpful clues as well. So I'm going to let you pause the screen and see if you can add the next 2 animals who are running away. There might be more than 2, but there will be at least 2. Fantastic. So we have Calico Band, the little mice ran to be ready in time for tea. So we know from this stanza, as part of the poem, that the mice are running away. So we've had birds, fish, and now mice. And lastly, getting to the end of the poem, Calico Drum, the grasshoppers come to the butterfly, beetle, and bee. Over the ground, around and around, with a hop and a bound, but they never came back, they never came back, they never came back. Right, so we also have grasshoppers, butterflies, beetles, and bees, loads of animals, mini beasts listed in that one. So many animals are running away. Now, question number 2 is, who do you think the speaker in the poem was? So the speaker is the voice that's reading the poem or saying the poem. So do you think it could be a person saying these animals are running away from them? It might be. Or could it be an animal that the other animals are running away from? And if you think it's an animal, can you make a guess? What animal do you think might be causing the other animals to run away? It might be so scary. It might be a scary animal. So I'd like you to add that to your list. For number 2, which animal do you think it might be that is the speaker that the animals are running away from? Can't wait to see your predictions. All right, so looking at our learning this week, we have learned 2 new words that are just for poetry, not just for poetry, but that we use a lot in poetry. So yesterday we learned the word mood. Do you remember what the word mood meant? The mood of the poem. That's right, it's the feeling of the poem, the feeling that the poem gives us as the listener, or the feeling of the poem for the character. So that's the mood of the poem. And now today we learned a new word, the speaker. So the speaker is a bit like the narrator in a story. And we said the speaker is the voice who's doing the telling in the poem. So it's the person or the character who's saying the poem to us. So who do we think the speaker is in this poem? Okay, now a few little activities just about rhyming. Okay, so what you have on the screen is different boxes some of them will have just words, and some of them will have phrases, which is not quite a full sentence, but a few more words. So your job is to match the rhyming words and the phrases. So they're all mixed up. So I can't just draw a line going straight across, because Calico Pie does not rhyme with the little fish swam. So Calico Pie, I'm going to look on this side. Which phrase rhymes with pie? Remember, we're looking for that last word or that last sound. Little fish swam? No. The grasshoppers come? No. The little mice ran. Calico Pie, the little mice ran. Nope, not that one. Calico Pie, the little birds fly. Calico Pie, the little birds fly. That must be it. They both have the I sound. So I'm going to draw a little match for me. And you don't have to draw a match. You can just write them down. You can write Calico Pie, the little birds fly on the same line. So we're looking for the matching words and phrases. Can you connect them? Can you find their match? Your next activity to do as your next step, this is our stretch challenge, is to come up with some of your own. So if you can do the first challenge where you match the rhyming words and phrases, that's fantastic. Why not stretch yourself to do the second one? So for the second challenge, it says, can we think of rhyming words to complete these phrases? So we've got calico glue, the little bird, and you have to write the last word. So the last word has to rhyme with the word in the line above it. So we've got calico glue, the little bird flew. We know in the story, the little bird flew, but maybe there's another word that makes sense. You can get quite creative. So maybe you could say calico glue, the little bird drew. Maybe he drew, like he drew a picture. Maybe he, calico glue, the little bird flew, drew, chew. Calico glue, the little bird chews. Not the best one, but it's getting more creative. Calico bang, the little girl, something that rhymes with bang. So something little girl could do, it's going to be a verb. They're all going to be, well, they're not all going to be verbs, but the ones with the second line are going to be verbs. So we need to find the rhyming word. So calico glue, the little bird. Calico bang, the little girl. Calico sword, the lion. That's a good one we can think of there. Calico, this is where it gets a bit tricky. Calico something, the little spider ran. So it has to rhyme with ran. Calico, calico man, calico can, calico tan. Remember, it doesn't have to make sense, that calico bit, but it has to rhyme with ran. And finally, the last one, which is very tricky. Calico, the little cat purred. So calico, the little cat purred. Not the easiest challenge, but remember, you can always ask an adult or a learning partner for help at home. And be as creative and silly as you want. Edward Lear's poem did not make sense, so yours doesn't have to make perfect sense, as long as it rhymes. So you have 2 special activities, so make sure you go back and freeze the screen so you can see them. Or you can also find it saved as a PDF file. I don't know if you like to print or if you want to pull it up as a PDF. It's also on the Teams English for Thursday as a PDF file. So challenge 1 and our stretch challenge, where you have to think of your own rhyming words. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. I think this is a really hard challenge, but it's a really fun one. Remember, they don't have to be perfect. We're just testing ourselves to think of those rhyming words. It's part of the fun of poetry. And I can't wait to see what you come up with, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.